For decades, direct selling has existed in a strange tension, an industry built on trust, and yet constantly questioned.
Tell us a little bit about where you came from, what did you do in the whole crypto fight, and how did you find your way to direct selling?
Home is Washington, D.C. So not only am I a creature of politics and a creature of D.C., I'm a native. The collapse of FTX was a gigantic moment in an industry in which I held a leadership role. Surviving that and then thriving after it is something that has very many parallels to kind of the turbulence that's going on in the channel right now, but it really gave me my strategic member services and mobilization stripes.
Dave Grimaldi didn't grow up in this space. He came from the other side. Congress, the FCC, leading government affairs for the tech world. He knows how decisions get made, how reputations get formed, and how policy gets written, often by people with only half the story.
What do you see as the challenges right now, and how are you navigating them? And then what do you see on the other side?
Even though we have a unified pro-entrepreneurial, pro-capitalism, pro-American grit regime in place, when the other side takes over again, they are already building an agenda to snap back. And one of the things that they're going to snap back on, I think, is the ability of all of our friends and companies in the channel to recruit their sales forces and explain business opportunities the way that they want.
As CEO of the Direct Selling Association, Dave's not just managing strategy, he's rebuilding the bridge between our industry and the people who regulate it. He's challenging how we're seen and pushing us to own how we show up.
What is the story we need to tell before somebody else tells a story for us?
There are two things that a mentor of mine named Robert Rabin told me years ago that lead to success: personality and performance. The direct selling channel is the greatest combination of both of those. And it's powered by just sheer willpower.
Richard Bliss, Brooke here. We are live.
We sit here today with none other than
Mark Victor Hansen.
Bob Proctor.
This is Kendra Hall.
Tanya Stringer.
Jeff Canfield. DeWitt Jones.
James Clear.
Les Brown.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for the Authentic Networker podcast. I have a very, very special guest here today from Washington, D.C., where all the world circulates. And right down there on probably close to K Street or on K Street, Dave Grimaldi, right there is K Street. Dave Grimaldi, the new chairman of the Direct Selling Association, the most important organization in our entire profession, brand new to direct selling. Dave, welcome.
Richard,
thanks for joining us.
What an honor, man. This is the highlight of the week, month, all of it. It's so fun to be with you.
Well, it is fun to have you in direct selling, and so fun to have your leadership and energy guiding the future of direct selling. I heard about your new role a few months ago and looked forward to meeting you. And we met in Dallas a month or so ago and listened to you speak. And I was really energized by your vision and your energy and your background. You're so perfectly suited for this fight. And so I'm just excited to, have my audience find out who are you, because, the people that are listening to this are, they're company owners, they're executives, they're sales leaders all over the world that are in the fight to legitimize direct selling and network marketing and to do it right so that we have that credibility and that influence and we can be successful. And we have an unfair advantage. Everybody else can talk about whatever they want to talk about, but we can't say much of anything about anything. Mm-hmm. But still, we got to go out there and recruit people and sell our products. So we are all looking forward to you paving the way. Like all of you audience, if you caught in Dave's introduction, he's been recently leading big fights in crypto. And so it's perfectly suited, right, for what we're doing in direct selling. And so, Dave, I thought I'd start there. Tell us a little bit about, where you came from and what did you do in the whole crypto fight, and how did you find your way to direct selling?
Oh, I mean, it's such a fun journey, and it's such a fortuitous, serendipitous, but also kind of accidental journey. And Well, home is Washington, D.C. So not only am I a creature of politics and a creature of D.C., I'm a native. I'm a homegrown guy who grew up in the middle of the city of Washington, not a suburb.
Wow.
And I love it here. All four seasons. It's a beautiful place, center of the world. And after a career in senior roles in government positions, I came to the other side of it all, to the advocacy and the lobbying and the messaging and the communications side, and I'm a lawyer also, and found my way through a number of positions at associations and with a publicly traded company doing their advocacy and their messaging. Found myself at the Blockchain Association very early on, when, as we call it, BA, the Blockchain Association. BA was probably 30 or so companies. It's now about 120 or so. But one of the reasons I think that the TSA leadership and its board and its executive committee came looking for me was I navigated it through interesting times and with interesting characters and companies with a mission of let humanity and Americans transact online, be it crypto, NFTs, stablecoins, no matter what it is, freely without undue or burdensome government intervention.
Yeah.
Obviously, the collapse of FTX was a gigantic moment, negative moment in an industry in which I held a leadership role. Surviving that and then thriving after it, which is where crypto and blockchain is now, I think is something that has very many parallels to kind of the turbulence that's going on in the channel right now. But it really gave me my strategic and crisis comms and member services and mobilization stripes through being at Blockchain Association. It was a whole lot of fun. It still is kind of a nascent industry that could be the future of global finance. Only to sell, but adoption and usage is going up, 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 and up. And there are some very deep similarities and some contrasts from the channel to crypto. One of the big contrasts is crypto is largely peer-to-peer networks, and more often than not, you don't know, or almost exclusively, you don't know who's on the other side of a transaction with you. And that's the beauty of crypto. It's peer-to-peer, and I don't want to know from whom I'm buying Ethereum or Bitcoin. That's part of it. The channel is the epitome of interpersonal, meaningful face-to-face connections. I say multiple times a day, you cannot replace face-to-face. It's why I love being part of this community right now. The parallels are there is a libertarian strain in both. Mm-hmm. With the channel, I want to be able to build my sales force, build my downlines, recruit people and tell them what the awesome power of direct selling can mean to them, how it can supplement their income, how it can introduce them to new friends, give them managerial skills, give them entrepreneurial skills. Very much the same, obviously, in blockchain and crypto. We want to be able to transact freely. We don't want a centralized entity or bank or federal kind of overhang telling us what to do and how to do it. It's global and it's free and it's open. Obviously, though, and we can get into this, bad actors are everywhere. You want to make sure that you are keeping them out, keeping them regulated, making sure that there are standards and best practices. Similar in both of these things that we're talking about, in where I was in crypto, where I am now in direct selling. Yeah.
So, what do you see? What do you see for our future? And you've only been involved like 2 or 3 months, but you probably see some immediate challenges. And let's focus on that. What do you see as the challenges right now? And how are you navigating them? And then what do you see on the other side?
Well, right now in Washington, we are in a unified party governance ecosystem right now, with Republicans controlling all of Congress, so both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and they control the White House with Donald Trump in the White House. That doesn't happen very often, and they are, as I think anyone who's read a single headline knows, they are a very free and open market team, from the Speaker of the House to the Majority Leader of the Senate to the President, breaking down barriers to American business, letting capitalism thrive, on and on. As I've said many times, I don't know if anyone in the history of elected office knows about selling and sales more than this president. He's proven himself to be that, no matter what the product is. He's selling it and he's talking about it, and it's a hell of a thing to watch. So a long way of saying that right now, had Kamala Harris won, there would be much more scrutiny and consumer protection looming over the channel. Democrats are the party of consumer protection, looking out for the little guy, making sure that predatory practices are either not present at all or are being eradicated. Had Kamala Harris won, it would be a different reality now. She would have had a chairman or chairwoman of the Federal Trade Commission and other regulatory entities looking very closely at industries like ours, industries like crypto, the payments industry, the loan industry, all of it. Because we have this administration in place now, that scrutiny is not as harsh or oppressive is the wrong word, but just as in your face. But Richard, as I know, after a lifetime in this city, in Washington, through presidential administrations, if you have a pendulum that swings back and forth, it used to swing, Democrat, Republican president, it used to swing a little bit like this, right? George H.W. Bush to Bill Clinton, to George W. Bush, to Barack Obama, etc. Well, the way the climate is now, that pendulum is swinging like this.
Yeah.
And when a new White House comes in, not only do they want to put their mandate forward, they want to erase what has been done before them.
Through executive orders.
In past administrations, that was done around the edges.
Right.
Now it is get rid of everyone, overturn their policies and their regulations, and go real hard the other way. And that's not just a Trump thing.
Right.
If Democrat wins in 4 years, they're going to do the same thing. And it's kind of the way it is now, for better or worse. I think it's for worse, because this used to be a town where people got along and built off of each other and built off the positive things. A lot of it now is just burn down the village and start over. Because of that, even though we have a unified pro-entrepreneurial, pro-capitalism, right, pro-American grit regime in place, when the other side takes over again, they are already building an agenda to snap back. And one of the things that they're going to snap back on, I think, is the ability of all of our friends and companies in the channel to recruit their sales forces and explain business opportunities the way that they want. Because many in the Democratic Party have a very, very, very big magnifying glass over exactly what is said in that recruitment. And so cultivating during peacetime, cultivating, explaining, and educating is the order of the day. That's what we do every day here.
As opposed to taking advantage of the environment and getting out of hand. So in the next 3 or 4 years, we're in the habit of being reckless and taking advantage of the environment. And so then if it turns back in 3 or 4 years, we're out of bounds, right? So we have to, I mean, I think one approach is we can take advantage of this environment and go crazy, but then in 3 years, our habits are going to come back to bite us. And so moderation might be the call of the day, as opposed to let's go nuts because we got a good environment.
I couldn't have said it better. The way that right now I worked for a legendary African-American congressman from South Carolina, a guy named Jim Clyburn.
Yeah.
Not a bomb thrower. Civil rights icon, not a bomb thrower. And I learned how to reason with other people. and how to see their side of the argument, validate the passion behind what they're saying. I am right now going in to, well, and I'll tell you this, Richard, there are over 60 Congressional Black Caucus elected officials in the House of Representatives. There are well over 50 Hispanic members of the House of Representatives. The total number of congressmen in the House is 435. Well over 100 are Hispanic or African American. They also make up a massive amount of the sales force in the channel. Proud members of the sales force in the channel. I am now going in and talking to those offices and making sure they know that their constituents are part of our community.
And the fastest growing. The Latino market is the fastest growing part of our market in the United States.
And most of the folks up here on Capitol Hill don't know that. These are their constituents. These are their voters. These are their neighbors. And talking about that is fun and easy and exciting. And they love learning about it. And oftentimes they will say, oh my gosh, my neighbor from 2 houses down came by and sold X product. And okay, I'm so glad you came in. If you do a fly-in, bring them by the office. So DSA is for sure doing that. That's a given every year. But it's just reminding them who we are and the economic and American kind of grit behind it. And it's enjoyable, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, you're the right man for the job. I love your spirit. You're flying all over the country and just being a tremendous ambassador for the free enterprise. The word you used earlier was grit. And that just really speaks to who we are as network marketers. We're all about casting the vision of what's possible and going for it. And unfortunately, the people that, want to claw us back into the bucket, they're just not all about that kind of stuff. And then at the same time, to the degree you want to, cast a vision and encourage somebody to go for it, that can end up being reckless. And we, of course, get branded for being reckless. And oftentimes that's true. Oftentimes we are irresponsible and reckless. And so moderation, we gotta go for moderation. And I think you just have a wonderful head on your shoulders. And plus you have great courage and wonderful with people, and you're so connected. This is going to be a great run for the Direct Selling Association. And I'm encouraged that everybody get behind the Direct Selling Association. So what do you need there? What do you need from the profession, the owners, the executives, even the sales force? What do you need? How can we help you?
It's many things. Data, use cases, the storytellers, emissaries, all of that is always helpful. That actually speaks truth to power for what we stand for and what we do. And Richard, I sold ACN in college, so I actually I can talk the talk.
Right.
I can walk the walk because I did it in college, in my dorm rooms at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. I sold ACN wireline service in my dorm, and I remember the satisfaction and the confidence that came from doing that. And I was out in LA, having come from DC, knew no one, scary, intimidating, beautiful at the same time, but I, needed to help finance my way through college. And ACN did that. So I could talk about this. That's hugely helpful. And then it's coming to DC and it's participating in everything that we do. And we're doing a lot. And I also want, wherever we have a manufacturing facility in the US, whatever congressman represents that district, they need to go see it. And as you said earlier, I am trying to be in the field and looking in the eyes of our consultants and our salespeople in our field as much as I can. I loved every minute of being in Wisconsin at the Regal Wear factory and walking the factory floor with a hard hat on, with my immigrant Italian grandparents coming from Italy and working in factories in Pennsylvania. There was a personal awesomeness to that, but also made in the USA and sold by American citizens, and being done so just on their own vigor and their own drive. And seeing that was amazing. And the same in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I was 2 weeks ago at the Senegens seminar, and seeing 500 plus just wildly excited women the Senna sisters of Senegence, talking about how that was their favorite weekend of the year. When they see Joni Rogers Conte, who has built this unbelievable company from the ground up in Oklahoma, and how they have made lifelong friendships with all of these women there wearing their royal blue and I had on my blue, and the energy and the power in the room, and listening about how to be DSA certified and how to do makeup shade matching and lip gloss shade matching. And yes, Richard, I sat in every one of those on the edge of my seat. I've never been more interested in anything. And just to be there and to look around, and don't get me wrong, I drank all the Kool-Aid and fell madly in love with crypto and blockchain and digital asset technology. And there were some very rabid people in crypto, and I became one of them. But sitting in a room when you can touch and feel a product is a horse of a different color. And I loved it. I am deeply and naturally curious about people no matter who they are. And as you know, we've got some real characters in the channel, and spending time with them is a total rush. It's totally me. And I loved it, and I'm keeping in touch with all of them for years to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So I got to tell you a little story. Last week, they let me register and participate, and they let me ask questions. Even I've done it every year for the last 3 or 4 years. I participate in I don't know what they call themselves, but it's the annual convention of the Network Marketers Haters Association. It's, these authors and consumer advocates and professors, all the expert witnesses, William Keep and company.
Oh, the anti-MLM conference that was here in DC.
So yes. I'm on there for 2 days. It's 3:00 in the morning, my time.
Yep.
And, it's speaker after speaker after speaker. And I couldn't help myself. I just had to comment on the Zoom. I said, this might go over a little bit better if you guys weren't so hypocritical to use inflammatory bias language in your presentations, the same kind of stuff you accuse us for, because all of their presentations were completely inflammatory. And, one lady said, she's supposed to be like an authority, and she's doing a PowerPoint, and she said, all MLMs are cults. I'm like, really?
Yes.
And then, another one said, every network marketing company is subject to the 70% rule and the 10 customer rule. And I'm like, really? Because I think only Amway in 1979 is subject to that rule. These people misrepresented, lied, exaggerated, and we're just plain ignorant. And that's who we're up against. And what they hate the most about us, really, is the whole model of recruiting. And this is what I want to ask you about. They're okay with people selling products. Now, they don't want us to, show people how to make a lot of money selling product. And they don't want us to champion people making a lot of money selling products. But what they really hate is the whole idea of recruiting people who might recruit, who might recruit, who might recruit, who might recruit, who might recruit. And of course, what I want to say is, well, there was a guy a couple thousand years ago that personally sponsored 12 people on his front line, and they've been having weekly meetings for 2,000 years, and they still don't have everybody. But I'm sure we need to worry about everybody getting in. They just hate the whole recruiting thing. And one lady said, the last thing I'm going to do is get recruiting and network marketing outlawed. And of course, that defines the network marketing part of the direct selling model, which not every company is, but most are today. What is your feeling about that? I guess what I want to ask you is, how do we protect that? And how important is it that we protect it? Because, of course, if we don't, we're just selling a product out of a kiosk. We're not who we are.
It is, Richard, it's the guiding light. It's the oracle. It's the ability to be, and I'll start out by saying this. There's bad actors everywhere. And we had the biggest one in American history in crypto, right?
Yep.
And what we said after FTX collapsed was regarding Sam Bankman-Fried, its founder, let the justice system work. Let the justice system find those bad actors and bring them to accountability. But you can't use a dragnet, and you can't run around and accuse people of being, guilty before innocent, and those presumptions. And you're talking about people jumping to conclusions and stereotyping, and it is wrong. And there are a whole bunch of good laws and regulations on the books.
Sure.
That have painted a line of things that you can't walk across and say. You can't lie and you can't misrepresent. And I haven't met a person in the channel that does do that. I've been at the conferences that you've mentioned, and I've met people who describe the business opportunity honestly and forthrightly and optimistically. And that is what free speech is. And what our guiding light here is in DC for DSA is to make sure that in the name of consumer protection and in the name of anti-predatory practices, that there is not an overreach. There is not an over-rotation against the ability to make a supplemental income and to build a sales force of people who want to be in a sales force and who want to sell a product and to help their families and to be opportunistic. And so that is where, again, with that pendulum swinging, when there is a new regime that wants to go completely in the other way of a Republican administration, a Trump administration, or even a pro-business Democratic administration, that they don't put a target on the back of an industry solely for messaging points or solely in the name of protecting consumers at all costs. You got to get to know an industry. You've got to get to know the people and what's behind it, and not cast aspersions and jump to conclusions. That is what we're doing here. And I walk in to plenty of offices on Capitol Hill. Oh, you guys are the industry of pyramid schemes, or the industry of multi-level marketing. And I don't say, how dare you?
Right.
Say, oh, well, we get that a lot. Well, let me tell you about this company that is manufacturing cookware that is top-notch, that you would use tonight in your own kitchen, and that you yourself can sell once you use it to your friends, family, and neighbors, and you can make money in doing so.
And has been around for what? I don't know, 70, 80 years?
And it's something you can relate to. And right. Sure, you can go lie to people about its quality. You can lie to them about the money that they could possibly make. You can, but why not try looking at the glasses half full and right. Learning from us and rolling out all of the examples of this done properly. Sure, we can talk about fraudsters and criminals and all that, of course, but let's just be adults about this.
Yeah, well, I love what you say about let the justice system do its job, because it is there. We do have laws. They do work. And, it's not been prosecuted yet, but Federal Trade Commission and a couple of other regulators, finally, it took them years to sue one of the worst actors in our profession, who I'll not name, but, kind of an investment coaching.
This was recent. Yes.
Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. But it took them a long time to finally sue that company. But, that's a bad actor and they need to be dealt with. But they are fringe. And, what's not in the fringe are a lot of great companies that have been around for decades that sell real products to real people. And 95% of their sales are just customers. They're not people that are selling the product. They're just customers. And, data, I think, is a really important part. We need to clean up our data. We need to categorize properly who's doing what, because there's really three categories of people in our profession. There's customers, and that's at least 90%. Then there's sellers. Let's call them traditional direct sellers. All they do is sell the product. Probably today they sell it online, social media. They make a post, they have a link, somebody buys some product, or they sell something to their neighbor, or maybe they sell it at a flea market or something like that. They don't recruit. They don't build a sales force. They don't lead. They don't coach. They don't train. They're not in the people business. They're just making a few $100 a month, maybe. And then there are the network marketers. Those are the people that recruit and build a sales force. They're only about 1 or 2% of the data. So if there's 100 people in the database, there's only 1 or 2% of them that have a sales force that are earning that network marketing income. There's only 3 or 4%, 5% at the most that are selling product. Everybody else is a customer. And if we had that data cleaned up, you would see that a much, much higher percentage of people actually make money that are trying to make money, right? The customers don't make money. They just enjoy a product. And gosh, we have companies, as you know, and you're going to get to know, Dave, that they've been doing this 60, 70, 80 years. And they have customers that are second, third generation customers. You know, the kids and the grandkids grew up buying these products, using these products in the home. And they still use them. Why? Because they're the best. And that's the story we need to tell. And that's the last question I want to ask you, because I know your time's limited, but you're a storyteller. And we have a story to tell. And if we don't craft the story, other people are going to craft it for us. Like, oh, you guys are the pyramid company. What is the story we all need to be telling? To the media, to our friends, to the regulators, to anybody who will listen. What is the story we need to tell before somebody else tells a story for us?
There are a million unique things about this country. There are a billion unique things about the personalities of human beings. There are 2 things that a mentor of mine named Robert Rabin told me years ago that lead to success: personality and performance. The direct selling channel is the greatest combination of both of those. Yeah. And it's powered by just sheer willpower. I want to do right by my family. I want to use what's inside of me, what's inside the DNA that God gave me, to go out and in a way that is more satisfactory than anything, enrich myself and enrich someone else who I'm selling, what you just said, one of those amazing products to. And you cannot replace face-to-face. This is not an unknown party to an unknown party. This is not walking into a store, and I have wonderful transactions at coffee shops every day, but this is not walking in, handing money, getting something, leaving. This is developing a relationship that leads to a sense of community. And that's on both sides. People who use these products and feel good about themselves. Man, this lip gloss makes me beautiful today. Wow, this cookware made me make this unbelievable meal for my 2 kids. And it goes on and on. ACM, I'm paying less money to this provider than to the major telecom companies, but I'm also able to sell this and not only enjoy the benefits of the product, but make money from it. And what is just more straightforward than that? And it's also enriching all of those different communities, right? The different ethnic communities in the US. There's pockets of entrepreneurialism in all of them, like we talked about. It's such an easy story to tell. It's such an easy story to tell about just ingenuity, drive, personal power, personality power, and it brings together a community. And I told you, I have now seen it up close multiple times. I am certain that major retail chains have sales conferences and people get together and they have a great time and they talk about the product and they talk about probably a giant Fortune 500 publicly traded company. I guarantee you that when you go to a conference of direct sellers and field members, like I've seen recently, that is a heck of a lot more fun, more gratifying, more personal to you, because you're there because of what of your simple willpower to be part of this, to sell from it, to make money from it, and to learn about it. And again, using my coffee shop analogy, I am sure baristas know about the coffee that they're serving. They know where it's from. They know how to make a great latte, on and on. But when you're at a direct selling conference, let's say one for vitamins, let's say beauty products, those are people who are deeply, lifelong invested and prideful of that product and are dying to tell anyone about it and how it's part of their life and it's part of their day-to-day. I am sure people who work at other companies and sell other products, they take pride in it and they're happy about it. It's nothing compared to
no comparison.
What I have now seen in person. And
transactional versus spiritual.
It is transactional versus spiritual all the way. Great. I'm going to start saying that now every 5 minutes. So I owe you a royalty, Richard. Thank you.
Not nearly as many standing ovations and hugs at a corporate America conference as there is a network marketing conference.
I turned my phone around on the stage a couple of weeks ago to take a selfie with that crowd, and they went nuts. Yeah. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So
a lot of crying, a lot of laughing, a lot of standing ovations, a lot of hugs that you just don't see in corporate America.
And I'm all in. And I'm so grateful to learn from you and stand on the shoulders of all of these amazing people who have built these companies. It's just great.
This is American. This is the bedrock upon which America was built. This is the Statue of Liberty. This is your parents. This is your grandparents. This is my grandparents, great-grandparents. This is how America was built. And yeah, we've grown away from it, but what I think maybe will fuel us for the next 300 or 400 years of culture and community and capitalism and growth is getting back to the roots of inspiring individual entrepreneurialism, whether it's a hot dog stand or whatever it is, inspiring people to go do something, chase their dream, and the right to fail, because that's also American.
All the way. All the way. Amen to that. Yes, Richard.
Thank you, David. The new chairman of the Direct Selling Association, the future. Appreciate you being here.
This was great. Until next time, Richard, thank you.
Thank you all for joining the Authentic Networker. Share it far and wide. Until next time.